So networking is like exercise. So the more people you meet, the easier to network, the higher your network goes, the more important people you can reach. One person that you know, one network, one email, one referral will change your life. My favorite book about networking, and I highly recommend you to get it, Elton, is called The Third Door.
If there is someone very, very important that's at the event and everybody is trying to network with the person, how do you get that person to remember you?
Hello listeners, welcome to the Century Egg Show. So me with Elton, we're going to drop some knowledge here in this series and create a short series as well. So Elton.
Alright, so I've been seeing Bob go to a lot of networking events recently. Why is networking events important?
Yeah, so the reason why we want to talk about this topic, right, is networking is very important. So like, for example, our podcast, how I bring on the guests is through networking. A lot of times we have sponsors. Those sponsors also come through networking. So we are actually, like the saying is, your network is your net worth.
Yeah, correct.
There's some truth to that. One person that you know, one network, one email, one recommendation, one referral will change your life. So that's why networking is important, right? It doesn't matter what you do. One introduction, like for example, one of my favorite history figures is Yap Choi, who is a tycoon in Penang 100 years ago. He was a barber and he cut people's hair, and then he cut this tycoon hair, which was the tycoon of sugar, right? He imported sugar. So that one haircut, that one network changed his life. So that's why networking is important.
And people go about saying networking is very hard and everything. Where do you learn your networking skills? Is there like books you read or videos you watch, or is there even courses that you go for?
So networking is like sales, right? You cannot really learn it through books. You cannot, because you play basketball, Elton. So if you read about playing basketball, you can read like Michael Jordan book lah. You can read Kobe Bryant book. But you don't play basketball, you don't know how to play. So networking is the same, right? Having said that, I learned a lot of networking through podcasts, right? So last time I loved the Jordan Harbinger show. He actually used to have a course on networking that I took that course. And the way he networked is very amazing, how he networked to these different guests. My favorite book about networking, and I highly recommend you to get it, Elton, is called The Third Door. The third door, right? It's like first, second door.
Okay.
So why the third door? So Alex Benayan is the writer. So The Third Door is a very powerful book. He's not really a podcaster, but he wrote a book to share stories of all his idols, including like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. He went to talk to the founder of TED Talks, and he shared his story, right? So like for example, Warren Buffett, which he failed, he stopped Warren Buffett at his grocer. He did that with Larry King. So he stopped Larry King at Larry King's grocer, and Larry King ran away from him. And then he went to Larry King, and then they eventually had coffee and became great friends, the late Larry King. So I love that story. I love how he was like you, a young man who wanted to do something amazing. So the third door is basically, let's say you imagine you go to a club, you have the first door, which is you queue up. The second door, which you pay more money, is the VIP entrance. And the third door is when you know the DJ say, hey bro, my friend, come in. So that is the third door. So the third door is where you go in and with special access. So that's the book that I would recommend. Of course, there's like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the basic. You have interest in people. Right? Yeah, like 200-year-old book. So The Third Door is my favorite book to read about networking.
Right, so reading about all these, you need to go and practice, like you say. I need to go to networking events to network. What type of networking events should I go to? There's so many out there right now.
I would say, in our previous video, I would say when you go to LinkedIn, you have your target. Let's say you want to network with marketing leaders. Then you go to a marketing event. Right. You want to network with CEOs. You go to a CEO event. You go and join some, V-Stage or something. You want to network with HR, people go to a HR event. So have that target in mind. So it doesn't matter to me whether it's a big event or a small event. Even small events also are good. I'll see who are the speakers, who are the people I know already going, and then I will choose that event. So of course, if more of my target audience are, so for the podcast, we're looking for sponsors. So if they are in the marketing space, I would love to go to that event as well.
I think one question that I want to ask you is more practical. Let's say I'm at an event now, a big event, and I'm standing at the door. What do I do now?
Okay, yeah, great question. The answer to that is before the event, not at the event, right? So before the event, for example, today I attended an event by this software company.
Okay.
Before the event, I already look at the speakers and I start connecting with the speakers. Hey, I see that you are speaking at APAC Marketing 2025.
Right.
Connect, and then they accept. Look forward to see you there. And I go there. When I go there, I already can go up to the speaker. Hey, we connected on LinkedIn. Hey, yes, I know you're from LinkedIn.
Okay.
You connected with me on LinkedIn. So the work goes before, and that's how when I choose the event, I already start connecting with them. I see that hey, you are speaking at this event. Secondly, I would know who else is going. Right. For example, if a speaker or I know if my friend is going, I would go with my friend. So always go with friends.
Right.
That's my big tip. If you go alone, also can. You go to the event. That's what happened to me today. I went to an event. I look for people I already know and start hanging out and talking to them. So you don't want to go to an event and start giving people name card. You start your own group. Whether it's your friend and people will come join you. That's my experience. So even like in Tech Nation event, I had a table, so I put my podcast logo there, and then we just stand there, and then people start coming and joining our conversation. So I'm very intentional. I go to events where I know I can speak to the right people. I make sure, let's say I want to talk to this marketing director at this event, he's a speaker. I make sure I go and say hi to him, connect with him on LinkedIn, pass him my name card, and then I will hang out with people I already know.
And when going to these events, you actually don't have a lot of time to network. So how do you approach people? How do you introduce yourself? What do you say?
So that's also a good question. Normally I hang around the food. And then I talk about the food. Let's say if I'm an event alone, I will hang around the food and talk about the food. And when you go to business events, it is not frowned upon to introduce yourself and ask what you do. Are you with this company? So you exchange name cards, and then I generally have an interest in people. So let's say somebody really introduce themselves to me. They say they are in Web3, so I can ask them questions about Web3 also, right? So you generally need to have the interest in people, and then you need to exchange contacts. So my advice is, you can introduce yourself as well, right? But you can talk about food and start the introduction by telling people what you do, and also getting to know people as well.
Then after that, you definitely do exchange name cards and everything. How does the follow-up go after that? I think that is very important when it's like lead generation. How do you follow up your funnel?
The best case scenario is that they already know you before the event. So that's why the LinkedIn important. Or they already follow you before the event. Best case scenario is you're the speaker at the event, which not everyone can. Then they already know you, they expect you, and you have more, more value when you go and talk to people. So what happens at the event, you exchange name cards. What I do normally is I always connect with them on LinkedIn so they can see my content. I'll introduce myself, but I try not to pitch myself at events and not to say, hey, you want to sponsor my podcast, whatever. I'll say, let's see how I can collaborate. I'll send you an email, is that okay? So after the event, then I will send them an email. But the rapport is built during the event. Like I said, you need to be genuinely interested in people. Ask more questions than actually pitching myself. And building that real connection. We can talk about a lot of things. Like I remember at this event, I was talking about electric cars. And then this person said, yeah, electric cars are, so hard to charge. I have to park my car 2 hours, half an hour away and take a Grab here. Like we talk about different things. And when you actually connect, let's say for a business meeting, whatever, they remember you because you built that connection, genuine connection, by having that genuine conversation, not about business, but maybe about food, maybe about their challenges in life or your own challenges. So be curious and ask questions.
And I think with networking, I think there's one misconception that is very extroverted, right? So if I'm someone who is a bit more shy, reserved, introverted, how do I go about it?
So if you're shy, introverted, go with friends. That's my high recommendation, and get people to come to you.
Go with extroverted friends.
Maybe yes and no. Yes and no. But go with friends and start making. Okay, so one thing is when you make friends at the event, you say, let's say I meet you Elton at an event. Then you say, hey Elton, do you know anyone else here? Then Elton say, oh yeah, you should talk to June. She's an expert in AI. Then I go and talk to June. Hey Elton, introduced me to you. So you, instead of going cold to people and say, hey, what do you do? you meet people from recommendations. And I love doing their events. So if you meet me, and a lot of people meet me at events as well, I'm the one to say, hey, you should meet John, you should meet Peter, he's doing this.
Ah, okay.
And then you bring them over. You are the connector. For introverts, the key is you go with friends, and you get the friends to introduce their connections to you.
One thing I want to ask is, usually at these events, if there is someone very, very important that's at the event and everybody is trying to network with the person, how do you get that person to remember you?
I generally don't.
Oh,
I
you don't?
generally don't. Like for example, like a lot of events I attend, there's a minister, no way lah. You can take a photo, whatever. I would say if you want to network that very important, my tip is network with the people around that very important person. For example, if you want to network, let's say with a CEO, the key is the PA. The key is the COO. And from him, let's say it's a very important CEO of a big company or even a minister, then it should be his secretary. Then from the secretary or the PA is the one that can get you the meeting.
So it's like
if you go directly to him, hundreds of people take photo, take selfie with him, he may or may not remember you. My strategy is, last time I remember when I met Gary Vee, how I meet him is through his team.
Right.
So I get to know the team around him.
So this is like what you mentioned, the third door.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is talking about misconceptions about networking. So what are the common networking mistakes that you see people do?
I think, going around events and passing out name cards, that is, no, I don't do that, not advisable. Preferably they know you and they have that impression of you, so when you follow up, they know who you are. Another one that I see is you go to an event, you don't have an objective. So like when people ask me like which events to attend, I say depends on your objective.
Okay.
You go to an event, you say, yeah, I don't know, I'm here for everyone, I'm here to make friends, don't know my friends. You have a clear objectives. I want to go to this event because I want to meet so and so person. So make sure you get your objective.
You meet so and so person
or the team around him, and then you go back, objective achieved, you can go home already. Right, so make sure you have a very clear, especially when it comes to these events. It's not a friendship event. It's not pickleball.
Correct.
Right, you have a very specific goal.
Everyone has an agenda.
Go and achieve the agenda. Know who you want to network with, and let's say you have that goal you don't meet, then you don't meet. Right, you have that goal. You have the specific people you want to network with. Go and make it happen. Everyone, you cannot attend all the events.
Yeah.
Make sure you hit your goals.
Right. So before we wrap up, what's the advice you would give someone, let's say, to network this year?
I would say networking, right, it's sort of like a exercise, right? So you lift weights.
Okay.
You start from 2 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo, 15 kilo, 20 kilo. So networking is the same. You cannot go directly and say, I want to network with Bill Gates. That doesn't happen. Even for podcast guesting, right? So I won't be like, oh, my first podcast, I want to get Bill Gates or somebody, right? Networking is a stage most of the time. Sometimes you can jump, but most of the time it's a stage.
Right.
So you network your way up. Let's say you are a exec, you network with managers. Then you network with VPs. Then you get more confidence. Then you can talk to CEOs. Like you see our podcast guests, we get more and more important people on.
Correct.
Right? And more big brands on. We didn't just start and say like, hey, we want to get like the biggest celebrity. So networking, the more you network, the easier it is to network. It's like exercise. The more you lift weights, the more easier your other exercises become, and the more resistance you build and all these things. Right? So networking is like exercise. The more you do it, the more people you already know. If you're an introvert, the more people you already know. Then let's say you meet this Dato and you say, oh, I also know so and so that I know he know you, then you got more things to talk about. So the more people you meet, the easier to network, the higher your network goes, the more important people you can reach.
All right, thank you so much.